When I was a teenager, I woke one night with the unmistakable feeling that someone was in my room. I could hear something moving, only slightly, but it was enough to make me open my eyes. Standing beside my bed was a dark, shadowy figure. It appeared to be dressed in dark clothing, but I could not make out its face. Where its features should have been, there was only darkness. And somehow, before it had spoken or even moved toward me, I felt certain that it wanted to hurt me. My instinct was to leap out of bed, but I could not move. I tried to lift my arms. Nothing happened. I tried to sit up, to turn away, to do anything, but my entire body was paralyzed. So I tried to scream. I fought just to open my mouth. When I finally managed it, all that came out was a faint, guttural sound. The figure remained beside me. I interpreted it as something demonic, and in that moment, there was no part of the experience that felt like a dream. I believed I was awake. I believed the figure was real, and I may never have felt that much terror in my life. Then, after what felt like an enormous struggle, control of my body returned, and the figure was gone. Years later, I learned that there was a name for what happened to me: sleep paralysis. It is a state in which awareness returns while the muscle paralysis associated with rapid eye movement sleep has not completely released. Dreamlike sights, sounds, sensations, and a powerful sense of presence can enter the experience. That explains why I could not move. But it does not, by itself, explain the figure. Why did my brain take a temporary failure of movement and turn it into a malevolent being standing beside my bed? And why have people separated by geography, language, and history described night visitors of their own? The visitor changes. The terror is strangely familiar. In the Abruzzo region of Italy, one traditional explanation is the pandafesce, an evil witch, a ghost-like spirit, or sometimes a terrifying humanoid cat. In a small study of 68 local people who had experienced sleep paralysis, more than a third believed the pandafesce might have caused it. Some described protective customs, such as leaving a broom near the bedroom door or a pile of sand beside the bed. The details are local. The structure is not: a person wakes, cannot move, senses hostile intent, and reaches for an explanation already available in the surrounding culture. A comparison of participants in Egypt and Denmark found another version of this pattern. Egyptian participants reported more frequent episodes, more fear of dying, and longer periods of immobility than Danish participants. In the Egyptian sample, supernatural interpretations were associated with greater fear and longer reported paralysis. That does not prove that culture caused the difference. These were observational studies, and the groups differed in more than belief, but they show that an episode does not arrive in an empty mind. Expectations can shape what an experience means, how threatening it becomes, and what the sleeper remembers. A third study examined a psychiatric sample of Cambodian refugees. Many described sleep paralysis episodes as ghost attacks. Trauma memories, panic, and cultural ideas about spirits became intertwined with the approaching figures they saw. This was a specialized clinical group, not a portrait of Khmer people in general. But it demonstrates something important. The same bodily state can carry very different emotional weight depending on the life and beliefs of the person inside it. The biology may repeat. The monster receives a local name. To understand the biology, begin with REM sleep, the stage most strongly associated with vivid dreaming. During REM, the brain is active, the eyes move, and most skeletal muscles are held in a state of near-complete paralysis called atonia. Brainstem systems help suppress the motor neurons that would otherwise carry movement commands to the body. Sleep paralysis appears when the boundaries between states fail to line up cleanly. Awareness returns, but REM-related atonia remains. The room may be visible, but elements of dreaming are still active. A small laboratory study captured 5 sleep paralysis episodes and examined their electrical activity. The episodes did not look simply like ordinary REM sleep or ordinary wakefulness. They showed mixed intermediate features, a measurable overlap rather than a clean switch. That distinction matters. Hugh, the person is not merely dreaming that they are awake. Real information from the bedroom can be entering awareness, but it is entering a brain that is still capable of producing vivid dream imagery and bodily distortions. The result can feel more convincing than an ordinary nightmare because it is anchored to a real place. Your ceiling is there. Your door is there. The edge of the bed is there. And then something impossible appears among them. Researchers often group sleep paralysis experiences into three overlapping patterns: the intruder, the incubus, and unusual bodily or vestibular motor experiences. These categories describe recurring clusters. They are not a complete explanation of every episode. The intruder pattern includes a sensed presence, footsteps, voices, shadows, and the conviction that someone is nearby. Imagine waking in darkness, unable to move while your threat detection systems are searching for a cause. Paralysis is not neutral information. Under ordinary waking conditions, if you intend to move and nothing happens, something is seriously wrong. The brain has every reason to treat that mismatch as urgent. One influential model proposes that this hypervigilant state encourages the brain to interpret ambiguous sounds, shadows, and dream fragments as an external agent. Not merely, something is wrong, but someone is doing this to me. That final step turns a condition into a character. The incubus pattern adds pressure on the chest, difficulty breathing, pain, or the sensation of being held down. Breathing continues during sleep paralysis, but REM sleep changes how breathing feels, and the sleeper may become intensely aware of resistance in the chest. Combined with immobility and fear, an uncomfortable sensation can acquire an intention. A creature is sitting on me. A spirit is pressing me into the bed. An attacker is stealing my breath. Then there are vestibular motor experiences: floating, falling, spinning, flying, or leaving the body. The brain normally combines signals from vision, balance, touch, and movement to maintain a stable sense of where the body is. During this mixed REM waking state, intended movement may collide with a body that provides no matching feedback. Dream-generated movement can fill the gap. The sleeper may feel detached from the bed, suspended above the room, or pulled through space. These three patterns can combine. You sense a presence. You cannot move. Your chest feels constrained. Your body seems displaced. The brain does what it is built to do. It binds scattered sensations into one coherent event. The scientific uncertainty is important here. We understand REM atonia and the overlap between REM and wakefulness better than we understand the precise construction of a sensed being. Threat vigilance and predictive interpretation are plausible, influential models, not a final scan of the exact moment a demon is assembled. But the models explain why the figure feels intentional. The brain is not adding a random decoration to the room. It is proposing a cause for paralysis, fear, pressure, and impossible sensation. And the most available cause is an attacker. Biology supplies the raw materials: paralysis, dream imagery, ambiguous sensation, and alarm. Culture supplies a vocabulary: a witch beside the bed, a ghost pushing down, a spirit, an intruder, a shadow person, or a demon. This does not mean that culture simply writes a script that every sleeper follows. People within the same culture report different experiences, and many episodes contain no figure at all. Nor does it mean that every historical story of a night visitor can be reduced to sleep paralysis. The careful claim is more interesting. When a strange biological event demands an explanation, perception is not separate from memory and expectation. What a person has learned is possible can influence what an ambiguous presence becomes. The experience feels external because perception normally gives us the world, not a label saying, "Your brain constructed this." During sleep paralysis, that invisible construction process becomes visible in the form of a visitor. I still experience sleep paralysis occasionally. The paralysis can feel just as physical as it did when I was a teenager. But the meaning has changed. I can recognize the state. I know that the inability to move will pass. And because I am no longer searching the darkness for a supernatural cause, the fear does not build in the same way. Understanding is not a guaranteed cure, but for me, it removes the mystery that once made the experience unbearable. If this happens to you, the most useful first step may be simply to name it. This is sleep paralysis, and the episode will end. Poor or disrupted sleep is associated with sleep paralysis, so regular, sufficient sleep may help reduce episodes, although it cannot promise to prevent them. And frequent or seriously disruptive episodes are worth discussing with a medical professional, particularly when they occur with major daytime sleepiness or other symptoms. Sleep paralysis can occur by itself, but it can also appear alongside conditions such as narcolepsy. The figure I saw felt intelligent, hostile, and separate from me. But it may have been the shape my brain gave to a simpler message. I am awake. I cannot move. Something must be here. The monster was not waiting in the room. It emerged in the narrow space between dreaming and waking, where the brain was still creating a world and had already begun to believe it.